So Jacksepticeye recently uploaded a video to his YouTube channel which was a lot more serious, and alongside speaking about mental health, depression and a lot of things like that, he was also speaking, especially at the beginning of the video, about a lot of hate online and what people say and the criticisms that people give to others. And I just wanted to come on here and, react and talk about what he was saying in this video from a commentator's point of view, somebody that does a lot of critiquing for a lot of people, and, seeing if I agree with some of the things he's saying. I kind of wanted to give my 2 cents, if you will.
Or does it feel like the internet is just getting angrier and angrier all the time? I feel like I can't even interact with the internet the way I used to because it just makes me so anxious all the time now. Everywhere I look, everyone's just fighting with each other, everyone's attacking one another.
I would definitely say, whilst this is true, some of this is, warranted. Some content creator might do something that is genuinely worth calling out a criticizable action. Look at the actions of somebody like Chris Tyson, Colleen Ballinger, I'm Alex, and the list goes on, where there are lots of content creators that mess up or do something horrific, which deserves to be called out, which causes, public discussion. On the flip side of that, there are also just lots of comedy going on online, some at the expense of others, some are not, and then of course you've got the crowd which does unnecessarily hate on everybody and everything. But there is genuinely some hate that, can be warranted and can be quite useful in the terms of criticism.
You go to a TikTok video and people are all like, oh, why'd you do stuff this way? Why did you do it that way? Why are you even filming this? What's going on? Like, it just feels like the fun of everything is kind of going away. Maybe that's just endemic of like the bubbles that I'm in. Maybe it's just endemic of the stuff that gets served to me. But algorithmically driven content just kind of drives everybody to anger all the time.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly put the blame on it being algorithmically, rather than there just being a lot of more outspoken people on the internet with a lot more contrived opinion. And this definitely isn't a new thing. There's always been these types of people. They're just getting way more popular at the moment. People that are being negative or speaking about other people that are doing negative things are always going to be more popular than people doing positive things or speaking about, people doing positive things. That's just how the internet and people in general are constructed.
Because it's so much easier to be angry about stuff and hate each other than it is to do anything decent anymore.
Again, that just goes back to my point of, saying something negative, saying something offensive, or doing anything like that drives way more publicity and attention if you were to say something nice, for example. But bringing this back to me being a commentary channel, for example, I talk about negative actions and the things that people have done because, they're criticizable and they need to be called out and they deserve to be called out. And I just think it's a case-by-case basis and just a little bit more complex than what's sort of being presented here. Like, of course, you're going to be seeing way more hate under a content creator like Logan Paul's video, for example, than you are going to be seeing on a Markiplier video. Because, Logan Paul has done some genuinely scummy things, like, suing CoffeeZilla, for example, where Markiplier is just an all-round decent human being.
And maybe it's always been like that, but now is just the only time that I've started to see it. And maybe that's just me and my timelines and my algorithms and the things that I see from my perspective, but it just kind of seems like anywhere I turn on the internet now, if I spend any length of time on it, it just all seems so negative. It's just people throwing rocks at each other all the time. The internet was supposed to bring people together and do amazing things and connect the world, but all it's done is seem to highlight the problems more.
I don't always agree with this sentiment that the internet drives more hate. I think it just represents life in general. The balance of, people doing incredible things on the internet, but, there's also hate, and that's just exactly how the real world is in general. You're noticing the internet highlight these problems more because more of these popular content creators are doing more negative things, and these influencers are the ones doing, more contrived actions, and people are calling it out, which just highlights the issues within the internet and with the world in general. But that's not to mean that people aren't doing amazing things on the internet or aren't producing incredible content. How you see the internet and people interacting with each other and being negative and being positive also just comes down to your outlook on things.
To just entrench people more in their beliefs instead of reaching out and having a heart and being more open to things. A lot of people have been, and that's great to see, but by and large, these things just keep happening over and over again. And that's not even mentioning like politics making people so angry and entrenching them into their own beliefs further as well.
As tough of a pill as this is for a lot of people to swallow, that's just how life in society works. When something political comes up, some people will accept it and some people will go against it. That's just how the world works for every single issue within society. And there's not much me, another content creator, or another person can do about it. You can educate people, but there's always going to be another person that, agrees or disagrees. That's just how life is.
And just picking sides and attacking each other all the time. It's really difficult for anybody to go onto the internet these days and just exist without being dragged into something that's going on.
Just putting my commentator 2 cents into this, a lot of people do get dragged into things, and sometimes that's for the people they associate with have done other things. Take a look at Mr. Beast, for example. A lot of his current quote-unquote downfall has started from, Chris Tyson, his close friend, being under the microscope. And of course, what Jack's saying here is completely true. A lot of people do get dragged into things unnecessarily, attacked unnecessarily. But of course, from a commentary perspective, and just from someone who's more critical online, is, some of that can be warranted for certain things. Now, Jack goes on to speak about his mental health and, sort of correlating the internet with, mental health struggles here. And whilst I can't speak on his battle with mental health, because everyone has their own story with it, and if it was kind of disrespectful to, comment on anything he's saying here, is, I've had my own experiences with the internet and mental health. The internet affecting and influencing other people's mental health and people's mental health in general is a case-by-case thing. Some people, reference the internet for a poorer mental health, and some people say that the internet really improved their mental health. They might have felt lonely, and, the internet really helped them out there, and that's a boat that I'm in terms of the internet really helping my mental health and opening my mind up. I think the internet gets really bad flack constantly, especially in mainstream media, for, causing bad mental health, being bad for younger people, and my experience with the internet is something that's completely different, and I don't think the positives get spoken about enough with the internet. I think the internet, like everywhere, can be bad for your mental health, but can also be good. It just depends how you use it and what you're doing. And for me, making content, coming on here, talking about things really helped my mental health and really improved some in real life skills as well. I seriously think it is a case by case basis. If you got 10 people in a room and asked each one of them individually how the internet had affected their mental health, I'm telling you it would be split down the middle with what they would say. The internet, like every place, can be an extremely positive and an extremely negative place to be.
Try and add funds to places that can help out, and trying to talk to the community all the time about mental health and making sure that it's not something that kind of falls to the side. And I've done it my entire career, which is why this year for Thankmas I've decided to partner with Crisis Text Line and Samaritan.
I'm not going to be really diving into the rest of this Jacksepticeye video because he just speaks more about mental health and places where people can go who, need help with their mental health. And I think that's really admirable, and I highly recommend people go and watch the full video, go and check out the links that Jack puts in the description and the charities that he's helping. It is a really good watch, and I just had a few thoughts on some of the stuff he was saying on the internet as a content creator. Just due to the time of this video, I'm not going to ask everyone to smash a like and subscribe. I think it might be a bit out of place, but if you did enjoy, I have been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video.